Okay, so let's say your mom and dad suddenly stop talking. They both want different things. Neither is backing down. And now your whole house basically stops working. That's pretty much what a government shutdown feels like. And the people causing it are usually the ones who barely feel a thing. But has this actually happened before? And why does a disagreement get so big that an entire country has to freeze? Let's get into it. And yes, this isn't rare. The US has experienced more than 20 federal shutdowns since the 1970s, some lasting days, others dragging on for weeks. A government shutdown starts with something very basic: money. The government is a giant machine that needs constant funding to keep everything running. That money doesn't appear automatically. It has to be approved through a budget, and that budget must be agreed on by the people in charge. When they can't reach an agreement on how much to spend, where to spend it, or what to cut, the machine doesn't break, but it does pause. In the US, the federal government runs on annual funding bills worth trillions of dollars. If even one of those bills doesn't pass on time, parts of the government legally lose the authority to spend money. A shutdown doesn't mean the entire country suddenly goes dark. Lights stay on, schools keep running, and daily life mostly looks normal. It's more like certain parts of the machine stop moving because there's no approved money to keep them going. A simple way to understand it: think of your school saying, "Teachers can come, but we can't pay them. So let's see who still shows up." The building is there, the students are there, but now the teachers barely care anymore. So everything just feels off because the system behind it isn't supported. That's what a shutdown is: a partial pause. And that one pause creates a domino effect that reaches way further than most people expect. Quick check: if you're enjoying it so far, hit that subscribe button. Okay, now we know what a shutdown is, but why would they happen right? Well, it comes down to Congress and two very straightforward jobs. First, they have to decide how much money the government should spend. Second, they have to agree on that decision. And surprisingly, it's the agreeing part that causes most of the trouble. Different groups in Congress have different priorities. Some want to spend more on certain programs. Some want to cut spending. And others want to attach extra conditions to the budget. These disagreements turn into long debates, bargaining, and strategy. Each side tries to hold its ground because giving in feels like losing power or abandoning their voters. Shutdowns are the result of political standoffs, pressure tactics, and attempts to gain leverage. It's just two kids fighting over who gets the bigger slice of cake. And because neither will compromise, nobody gets cake at all. The whole situation freezes just so someone can prove a point. What makes this worse is that shutdown fights often come down to a handful of policy demands, even though the budget itself covers everything from national defense to healthcare and infrastructure. But here's where it gets messy, because the people who actually feel the pain are not the ones in the room arguing. The real impact lands on everyone outside that room, and that's what makes shutdowns hit so differently. During a shutdown, not everything stops. Some parts of the government continue because they're considered essential. These include air traffic control, the military, border security, and federal prisons. These services can't pause, even for a day, because the country relies on them for safety and basic operations. But everything labeled non-essential slows down or shuts its doors for the moment. That means national parks close. Many federal agencies reduce staff. Museums pause operations. Research projects get delayed. And some passport or visa services stop taking appointments. Public-facing offices become harder to access, and the backlog grows quickly. Independent estimates and government analyses show that long shutdowns can cost the U.S. economy billions of dollars in lost productivity, delayed services, and reduced consumer spending. And the essential workers often still have to show up, but they don't get paid until the shutdown ends. For many families, that delay creates real stress. Shutdowns also come with an economic price. Payments get delayed, services slow down, businesses feel uncertainty, and local economies around federal offices take a hit. For example, during a previous long shutdown, Thousands of federal employees missed paychecks, while airports faced staff shortages and national parks struggled to stay clean and open. The effects spread far beyond Washington. Shutdowns cost billions in lost productivity, stalled projects, and reduced tourism around federal locations. Businesses that rely on government contracts or federal employees see less activity, and the ripple effect grows quickly. Meanwhile, one group stays almost untouched: the politicians at the center of the fight. Their salaries continue during a shutdown, protected by law. They still get paid on time while everyone else waits. Remember when I said the people causing the shutdown never feel it? Yup, Congress still gets paid. No matter what. That pay is protected by law, meaning lawmakers continue receiving salaries, even while other government workers wait weeks or months for back pay. If this part surprised you, hit subscribe. We break down topics like this without the noise. Getting back to the point, like, if shutdowns cause so many problems, then why don't the people in charge just avoid them? Well, shutdowns are used as leverage. They become a high-pressure tool in political negotiations. When one side wants something badly, more funding for a program, less spending in a certain area, or a specific policy change, they might use the threat of a shutdown to force the other side to give in. It's a strategy. Each side believes that holding out will make the other look weak or irresponsible. And because both sides want to protect their image, neither wants to be the one who compromises first. So the standoff grows, deadlines pass, and the shutdown begins. It's dramatic, but it's also deliberate. The hope is that the pressure from the public, the media, and government workers will push the other side to negotiate faster. But in reality, it's everyone outside the argument who ends up dealing with the fallout of the fight. But is the fallout the only damage done? Well, the answer is no. Shutdowns come with a set of hidden consequences that most people never see, but they're some of the most damaging. For starters, the country's credit rating can be put at risk. When the government looks unstable or unreliable with its funding, credit agencies pay attention, and even a small downgrade can raise borrowing costs for years. Everything from food checks to transportation reviews. These aren't things the country can skip without consequences, but shutdowns slow them down anyway. Research projects also get stuck in place. Labs pause experiments. Federal scientists lose access to resources, and time-sensitive studies can't move forward. And the backlog? It's massive. Months of paused work pile up, and clearing that stack takes far longer than most people expect. And the craziest thing? Shutdowns cost more money than the arguments they're having about the budget. The fight to save funds often ends up wasting even more. The drama doesn't lead to any accomplishments. Most shutdowns end without either side getting the policy change they were fighting for. The big demands usually get dropped, delayed, or settled through a compromise that could have happened without freezing the government. Instead of helping anyone win, shutdowns mostly damage public trust. It also wastes billions of dollars, money that could have gone toward programs, services, or improvements that actually matter. A simple way to think about it is this. It's like breaking your phone to win an argument. Now you still have the argument and a broken phone. Nothing gets solved, but the damage is real. Shutdowns look like a strong move in the moment, but in the long run, they usually make the situation worse for everyone involved. So if shutdowns don't work, cost billions, and frustrate almost everyone, why do they keep happening? Here's the real answer. Shutdown threats give politicians something they value: attention and pressure. When they take a hard stance, it sends a message to their supporters that they're fighting for what they believe in. It becomes a way to signal strength, even if the results don't actually help the country. Another reason is that the people making these decisions don't personally feel the consequences. Their daily routines barely change. That comfort makes it easier for them to push negotiations to the edge, even when millions of others are affected. Over time, shutdowns have turned into a form of political theater. Each side tries to appear tougher, louder, or more determined than the other. The debate becomes less about solving the problem and more about looking strong on camera or in front of their voter base. Shutdowns keep happening not because they help the country, but because they help the people fighting over it look tough to their own supporters. And because the system still pays them no matter what. But what happens after a shutdown, though? Well, when that bill is approved, federal workers receive their back pay, offices reopen, and services start up again. Airports return to normal staffing, research resumes, national parks unlock their gates, and the long list of paused tasks slowly starts to shrink. On the surface, it looks like everything snaps back into place, but the long-term damage doesn't disappear just because the shutdown is technically over. The backlog of delayed work takes months to clear. The most frustrating part is how predictable the cycle is. The shutdown ends, life returns to normal, and everyone promises to avoid the same mess in the future. But because nothing structural actually changes, the same issues build up again. And eventually, the fight repeats. Shutdowns are basically the government's messy breakup strategy, except we're the ones left on red. And until the arguing stops, the cycle keeps coming back around. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments section below and make sure to check out more from the channel. And if you want more clear, no-nonsense breakdowns like this, make sure you're subscribed.